I want to go back to codependency for a second, and how it can relate to ADHD. I saw this information. It was a story that I actually related to quite a bit. It was a pattern that someone had with ADHD and codependency. And the pattern kind of went like this. So you feel bad for yourself, and then you kind of fantasize or imagine someone who will help you feel better, right? And in this case, for this person, it was a personal relationship. So she would feel bad about herself. She would fantasize about finding the perfect person that would help her to feel better. And then she would throw herself into that relationship and basically forget who she was, leave herself behind to try to make sure that that relationship worked out, right? So that she could feel good about herself. And then she would realize, in actuality, that relationship was crazy making, right? Because she wasn't being herself. She wasn't showing up as herself. She was basically people pleasing to an extreme extent. And so she would like leave that relationship at all costs and then end up starting all over by finding someone else who actually, she would leave the relationship. It would start all over because she would then feel bad about herself again. And then she would look for another relationship to feel better. And then she would throw herself into the relationship, forget who she was, right? The relationship would end up being crazy making. She would leave feeling bad about herself, and the cycle would start all over. So as I was reading about this for someone in a personal relationship, I had a little aha of my own. I was like, oh, I had this cycle for a good, I would say 15 years, 20 years maybe, in work relationships, right? I used to think to myself, like, why, like, what is it that I end up in these really kind of high intensity work situations? I loved being kind of second in command to someone who was just starting something. I loved the challenge of figuring things all out and having all of the different job titles and like carrying, like, it felt like the weight of the world on my shoulders in these jobs, and unraveling the mess to get like the accolades, right? For people to say, or my boss to say, like, I don't know how you do it. This is incredible. And I would be so proud of myself for figuring it out, right? And then somewhere along the line, I would realize, like, this is insane, literally insane, like to the point of I'm in the one job working 4 job titles, 4 different business cards, wearing 4 different, 10 different hats sometimes, right? I loved the energy and the excitement and the challenge of it until I would somewhere on the back end realize, this isn't it. This is crazy. And then I would kind of leave wondering what went wrong and kind of feel like bad about myself in the sense that I hadn't found my perfect fit yet. Like, what am I meant to do? I think that was my question for a long time, trying to figure out what I was supposed to be when I grew up. And then it would rinse and repeat, right? I have numerous occasions where I have worked for employers like this, where I started with them in the garage, basically built the business up with them, did all the things, and then on the back end thought, wow, I lost myself in there. Like, I never said, whoa. I never said, this is too much. I never said enough. I never said, this isn't what I want to do. I was just all in, ride or die, until I wasn't. And then I was totally burnt out, and I would have to tap out for a while. And then I would find another job situation that was very similar. So for me, it wasn't personal. It was job related. So I'm curious if you have experienced a pattern like that, whether it be personal relationship or work relationship or family relationship, where you have that cycle of not quite feeling the way you want to feel about yourself, looking for it in some other type of relationship, trying to over deliver and be all the things within that relationship, losing yourself a bit, meaning like you just lose track of what you're doing and why you're even doing it, and then crashing and burning for a bit, having to just literally tap out to recover, and then finding yourself in that situation again.